Hello friends, today we are going to talk about the declaratory decree. The different declaration under this law can be asked under this declaratory decree. So now we will see some examples of the declaratory decree. So some of the prayers in respect of the declaration appear on the screen. The first prayer is that the first example of the prayer, the plaintiff therefore prays for the declaration of this honorable court, thereby declaring the notice dated so and so, okay, the notice dated so and so issued to whom? Owner occupier of a suit building, okay, being illegal, null and void, not enforceable in law. So notices issued to the owner occupier in subject suit building to declare as a null and void, okay, not enforceable law. So who is asking for the declaration? This owner occupier. His capacity being the owner occupier is asking for declaration in respect of these notices. Okay, the second prayer we can see, it be ordered and declared that the plaintiff is entitled for 1 by 1/80 share in the supremacies, okay, of land so and so. Now this person plaintiff is entitled, okay, and asking and declaring his share in the particular property, that he is asking for the partition and his particular share in the property. So he's declaring his share, asking for the declaration his share in the particular property. Okay. The next example of that, the that it be declared by this honorable court that defendant number 1 and defendant number 2 are rank trespasser. This plaintiff is asking that declare to defendant to a rank trespasser. That plaintiff might be a owner or in the lawful possession of the property, and he is making declaration about a defendant to be a rank trespasser. So these the common examples appears, and we can see in the many of the petitions and the suits, and especially in the respect of the prayers that appears in the declaration suit. Okay, so let's see. Suit or litigation for declaration is important part of the civil litigation. If suppose we will go through the personal law, if we will go to the property law, if we will go to the marriage and divorce laws, okay, all laws, some provisions are there, some rights has been described under these laws, these civil laws. And if suppose I want to ask for my rights, if suppose some clouds on my rights, somebody is denying my rights, and I want to be declaration of rights to confirmation of my right. So what I can do, I can make a declaration suit under the Specific Relief Act. Okay. So this is a declaration governed by the Specific Relief Act. Though the legal provisions are there for protection of your rights and your a particular legal character, but the thing is that the provision, what mechanism under which we can ask such right. So this is that mechanism of declaration under the Specific Relief Act, under we can ask for a right. Okay, section 34 and section 35 talks about the declaratory decree. Okay, section 34 and section 35. Okay, section 34 is talking about when can we ask for the declaration, means under what condition we can ask for the declaration. Okay, under what characters we can ask for the declaration. And section 35 talks about The effect of declaration. If suppose I'm asking for the declaration, if declaratory degree get passed in my favor, then what will be the effect of the same? Okay. We'll first go through the section 34. This is the section with the large explanation and the many characters and the many important points to discuss in particular section 34. Okay, so I have displayed the section 34 over here on the screen. I am reading it out. Any person entitled to any legal character or to any right as to any property may institute a suit against any person denying or interested to deny his title to such character or right, and the court may in its discretion make therein a declaration that he is so entitled, and the plaintiff need not in such suit ask for any further relief. Okay, so first I'm reading, I have read this. So what are the important characteristic of this section 34? Okay, any person, okay, can ask for the declaration, but subject to his entitlement. So any person who is the entitled, okay, to entitle for what? Any legal character, okay, any legal character or any right as to any property, any right as to any property. Person who is entitled with some legal character or to any right as to any property can institute a suit of a declaration against person, okay, denying or interested to deny his title and such character. And court, okay, now the role of court may in its discretion, okay, by by its discretion, court may make a declaration, court can pass a declaration there. Okay, what else is saying? Plaintiff need not in such suit ask for any further relief. Okay, so law is saying any person who is entitled for certain legal characters. Okay, person having some legal characters and any right to as any property can ask for declaration against person who is denying it. Suppose somebody is denying my right, okay, or interested to deny, then can make such declaration. Okay, and the court, it is discretion of the court, you cannot make a court compulsory to pass a declaratory decree, it is a discretion of the court to pass a declaration. Okay, and in such cases the plaintiff is filing the only suit of declaration, it's okay, there is no need to ask any further relief, but there are provision for it. No court shall make any such declaration where plaintiff being able to seek further relief mere declaration of title omits to do so. This is provision. The provision part of this we'll see a later on. So this is the section 34. We will elaborate section 34 and we'll see in the next some of the slides.
Entitled means the person able. Okay, if suppose person need to be able for while filing the suit, able for what? For the specific legal character or for the specific right to any property. It is called as a legal capacity. If suppose person is entitled while filing the suit, such entitlement need to sustain from a date of filing suit till final disposal or final passing order of the suit. Suppose in between some circumstances lead that person is unable to entitle, then person cannot get a declaratory degree. In one simple example of entitlement, if my mother owns some property and she is residing in this property, she is having the possession of that property. I am staying somewhere else, but in some problem arise in respect of my mother's property. Okay, about her rights in the property. So my mother is entitled to file the suit in respect of her property. I cannot file the suit on behalf of my mother in respect of my mother's property. If suppose my mother is giving the power of attorney, I can file the suit, but I need to file the suit in my mother's name. I cannot file the suit in my name. So my mother is one who only entitled to file such a suit. We see a legal character. Legal characters also having so many things to be a concern. It signifies the status of the person in the society seeking declarations. How the people pursue the person in society, that describes the status of the person in the society. Okay, and there is some threats or danger to the status of the person society, status of person in the society, then person can ask for the declaration. For example, of the person can ask for the declaration of his or her of voting rights. Also, the example of, if suppose the petitioner files the petition for recording his name as a sole legal heirs of her parents, and because if suppose somebody else is fine, if person is not staying with his parents and some other person is staying with the parents like a caretaker, or they can consider that other person as a legal heir of his parents. In such a case, person can make a declaration that he is the only legal heir of his parents. Even for the suit for declaration of citizen of India is also maintainable in the status of person seeking declaration in the society. The next point is need to consider the characteristic which law attaches to a man in a personal and individual capacity. Okay, personal and individual capacity for which the law attaches, like a law for the marriages, divorce, and adoption comes under the personal characteristic to a law attaches. If suppose I am making some declaration about my marriages, that I am the A was my wedded boy, but I took a divorce from my wife and now I am going to marry a C. So such a kind of declaration I cannot make in respect of my divorce, my marriages. Okay. So it is called the characteristics of a personal and individual capacity which attaches the law. Apart from that, a person can make a declaration in respect of, or can a declaration in respect as a in respect of the adoption. If person adopted by somebody, so in that case the person can make a declaration that the adoption is not binding on him or her. Even any other person affected by such adoption can make a declaration that such a adoption is invalid and can pray for such kind of declaration. Thereafter, the declaration of relationship, which does carry with certain legal consequences. So even person can make a declaration of relationship. But mere declaration of relationship is not having value. Such a relationship need to carry certain legal characters. In this area, the right of maintenance, right of inheritance come in such kind of declarations. Probably I can make a declaration that H is my husband. Okay, but along with that, some relationship and some, while declaring some relationship, some legal consequences come. So I'm making the declaration that H is my husband and I am entitled for maintenance from H. That is a legal consequences of my relationship. If suppose I'm giving the simple example that two brothers are there. One is staying with the parents in India and other is staying in the outside India for a long time. The A is maintaining all property of his parents and taking care of. The B brother is staying outside of the India. He is not aware about the all properties of his parents. After death of their parents, A might be looking after all properties, paying and taking all advantages out of all properties and making all legalities in respect of that. And B is not having the exact idea of the same. In such a situation, B can make a declaration of his relationship with A and also ask for his a heirship right, that is called certain legal consequences of relationship. Like he is declaring that relationship between A and B as a brother, and thereafter its legal consequences as a heirship of it. Thereafter a right of the parties takes place in the future. If suppose right of parties are there in the are existing, but the fruits of that might not available at the same time. It might take place in the future. Such kind of right can be described as a legal character. I am giving a simple example of it. Suppose the defendant may claim to a perpetual legal heir of the plaintiff, which may like to affect the list of legal heir of the plaintiff in the future. In such a case, plaintiff can make a declaration that the plaintiff is not having any relationship with defendant which he is alleged. So such kind of declaration which helpful for the legal heirs of the plaintiff. The another simple example of this, kindly listen carefully. If suppose W is a woman having a son called S. W is a woman having a son called S. Her husband W's husband has expired after her marriage and she has a remarried with the H. Okay, W is a woman remarried with the H. Now W's son S is staying with the W and H. Even S is using H's name on his all certificates of the school and other documents. In such a case, if suppose H feels that S is not his legitimate son and he is not entitled for his property, so he can make a declaration that H can make a declaration that S is not his legitimate son. So that might not affect a list of legal heirs of a H in the future. That is called the right of parties takes place in the future. We'll move to the next thing. Any right as to any property. Any right as to the any property is a very wider term. So the term not only consider the title or ownership right, but it goes beyond that. There are a different kind of rights comes under that. I'm giving some simple examples of it. The right to enforce an agreement of sale. It is one of the important right, and the right as to any property. Apart from that, right to attach the property. A right under mortgage, lease, tenantship right also can come as a right as to any property. It also applies in favor of the creditor who has been defeated by the share transfer. So, right as to any property, not just merely title or ownership right, which is making you entitled to file a suit, but other rights as a lazy tenants can also make a declaration about their rights in a property, okay, about their possession and other interests in the property, okay. So it is called as the right as to any property, okay. Right as to any property also includes the some contingent rights. Contingent rights means, but in these contingent rights, plaintiff must have a present interest in the property, although the enjoyment of this might be takes place in a future. Okay. So Enjoyment cannot come immediately. I'm giving one simple example that A alienates some property to B. A alienates some property to B in which A is having only a life interest. Okay, then A is not having a right to transfer any property to B because only A is having only life interest. Okay, the alienation is invalid against a C. The alienation is invalid against C, who is entitled as a reversionary. Okay, a reversionary. For that, the court may in a suit by C against A and B declare as C is so entitled. Okay, therefore C can initiate a suit against A and B and can ask for the decree of his right as a reversioner. Means after a death and after the life of the A, such a property is entitled to C but not to the B, and B is not having any right to such a property. So it is called a contingent right. The right, the interest in the right may take place in the future. Okay, but such contingent rise is not a mere expectancy or some hope, or such chance is not come under the contingent right. Therefore, you cannot sue for any expectancy or just hope or such a chance. The one simple example is so do that. Suppose A having right to succeed to the brother on his state is nothing but just a chance. Okay, A is making a declaration to succeed his brother property after his state is mere a chance. A cannot ask for such a declaration because who knows, the brothers' legal hair may come in the light in the future and they can claim property because at the time of the making declaration, A is not having any entitlement in the property, therefore, it is not come under the contingent right person denying or interested to deny. Okay, the first that plaintiff need to show that defendant has actually denied his right in the property or the specific legal character. I'm giving one example of it. If suppose P has filed suit for possession and injunction. If P has filed suit for possession and injunction against D on the basis of title of the P, but in the said suit, D is denying the title of the P in the said suit. D is denying title of the P, then P need to initiate the suit for declaration of his title, and P is entitled to file a suit for declaration. Then we'll move to the next point, that is a interested to deny. The interested to deny, the things come in that if suppose the defendant is doing some act of creating a false evidences in respect of the property, okay, and misleading the people in general, in the way the person is interested to deny the right in the property or the specific legal character of the plaintiff, and in such a case the plaintiff can move the case in respect of that. One of the simple example of that, see, if suppose there is a lease deed between the plaintiff and father of defendant. There is a lease deed between the plaintiff and father of defendant. Okay, plaintiff is in a possession of the property, enjoying it for the lease deed of 99 years. Okay, for a lease deed of the 99 years. After the death of the defendant's father, defendant are initiated some steps of selling the said property. Defendants have initiated some steps of selling property and made some agreements in respect of that. So, in such a case, the defendants are interested to deny the plaintiff's title. So, in that case, plaintiff can initiate a suit for declaration his leadership. Okay, plaintiff can initiate a suit for a declaration of his leadership, and other that the declaration of the agreements made by that defendants is not binding on him and they are null and void. Okay, next we'll move to the next point. The obstacle in enjoyment in the property. Even the defendant is making some obstacle of the enjoyment of property, okay, or the enjoyment the rights attached to the property, example of the easement, then in such a case also plaintiff can initiate a suit for declaration. But just a wish or intention, it cannot be cause of action and it cannot be called as any person denying or interested to deny. Giving a simple example of it. Suppose A has communicated to the B, A has communicated to B that going to sell, C is going to sell property which is jointly owned by B and C. It is just a mere wish and intention which is communicated by A to B. Even C didn't communicate any intention to wish, and such a mere wish of a C is not a cause of action and it cannot be called as any person denying or interested to deny. Okay, thereafter we'll see the mere allegation or mere threat. It is also not a cause of action in the case of the section 34. Mere allegation or mere threat. Like suppose people are just in the way of communication, just out of anger, saying that I will destroy your house or something that. Okay, is just a mere or I will see you. It is a just mere allegation or a threat, and on that basis cannot file a suit under section 34 and it cannot be called as any person denying or interested to deny. Thereafter we'll see a discretion of the court. It is also very important part in section 34. No mandatory on a court to grant a declaration. Okay, you are making the prayers for the declaration, declaring trespassing, declaration of the title, declaration of the possession, declaration of the tenantship right, declaration of the marriage, declaration of divorce. There are plenty of that, but it is not the mandate on the court, it is not a compulsory on a court to grant such declaration. Okay, court will decide after going through all evidences, circumstances, and the legal points of both parties, and thereafter they will grant a declaration. But nobody can mandate or make compulsory to the court to make such a declaration on the basis of mere some papers on the basis of mere some facts or on the basis of mere some events. Okay, thereafter not binding on a court. Okay, some person is saying I have filed all evidence in my possession on the record and therefore court need to grant me the declaration. So it is not there. If suppose you are leading any evidence but court may not get satisfied of it, or they are incomplete evidence, or they are a false document, that the court may be fined, and therefore it is not binding on a court to pass a declaration decree on the basis of the evidence entirely. Okay, and therefore just if you are filing all the evidence, you cannot make a mandate to courts to pass a declaration decree. There are no operative prayers along with declaration prayer, then court may not grant a declaration. I am filing the suit for enforcement of any document, enforcement of agreement sale, for agreement for sale. But uh, in that suit, I am not asking the prayer for the possession. Then court cannot grant a declaration because there is no operative prayer. Okay, because in that case, mere declaration is not having any value. Okay, we'll move ahead. Yes, we'll come to the part of provision. See this, section 34, the second part. Provided that no court shall make any such declaration where the plaintiff being able to seek further relief than mere declaration of title and omits to do so. Okay, whenever plaintiff is able to seek further relief, then and in that case the just mere a declaration cannot be granted because mere declaration is not having any value in that case. See, the first part of the section 34, what the law says, plaintiff need not in such a suit ask for any further relief. That is correct. But when, if suppose I am in a possession of the property, I am having all things, all deeds are there, everything is there, okay, and I am declaring my title, okay, so that is okay because I am in a possession. I no need to ask for the possession of the property. But if suppose I am not in a possession of the property and at the same time if I want a declaration of my title, so I need to need to file a suit for declaration of my title as well as for the possession. Which of plaintiff is able to seek a further relief, okay, the relief of possession, injunction, anything like that, okay, or to do some necessary things, and plaintiff omits to do so, okay, plaintiff is having the chance to file a further relief and plaintiff is not doing that, making the prayer of the further relief, then court can dismiss such suit and cannot grant a decree of a declaration. Why this provision of necessary? To avoid the multiplicity of the proceeding and to give some meaningfulness to some declaration where a declaratory relief of void nature of the document without the ancillary relief of the possession. That's I'm telling. If I'm asking for the I'm filing the suit for the enforcement of the sale deed, but I'm not asking for the possession, then there is not having any value. That's even the same thing has been discussed in the previous slide in the last file. It is a discretion of the court. Court cannot grant a declaratory decree where whenever just a suit for the mere declaration and it is not having any meaning to do so. So in the provision, it is important whenever there is ancillary relief, need to make such a prayer in your suit. Okay, here or the relief asked by the plaintiff when can get a refused by the court. That's a simple simple examples of that have been listed below. When there is a no substantial injury to the plaintiff, to his title, to his right, or to his any legal character. Okay. The claim never denied by defendant. The plaintiff's claim, being a owner, being a leasee, being a tenant, being a having a title, is not denied by the defendant. There is a no event and no circumstances lead to it. Then the court cannot grant declaration. Okay, plaintiff's conduct is a fraudulent. If court finds that the plaintiff has filed a false case, okay, to do his some a malice things or a bad thing, in such a cases, court cannot grant declaration. Just example of it, some people to just evade the stamp duty, they are filing the code, they are filing the suit of declaration. It is not a proper, okay, and it is not maintainable in law, so such a suit can be a dismissed and declaration can be a refused. Okay, Declaration of abstract right. Person asking for declaration whose implementation is mere impossible. Okay, here recites of law. Just making or reciting certain law. They are just the statement from certain laws. Okay, some existing laws of the property, some inheritance. It is not having any value in the declaration suit, and such declaration can get refused. Declaration of wherever the infructuous. A is a person asks for the declaration that to a declaration that declared him to owner of certain property. Okay, declared to be owner of the certain property as he is a legal heir of his parents. Okay, being a legal heir of his parents, but the chance might be that this property that his parents has already sold to some other person. In that case, such a declaration is not operative. Okay, because uh, the property has been sold by his parents to other person. That person is already residing in that property, already enjoying property, already he is having a law documentation about that property since a long time. So such declaration are infractions because not having any value. These declaration suit has been filed on the incomplete information. Therefore, such declarations are infructuous. Okay. Hmm. Yes. The important point of the court fee. How much court fee I need to pay in the declaration suit. Okay. So if suppose I am filing a declaration for a different purposes, so I have to pay a court fee accordingly. If suppose I want to file the declaration of a trespassing about some person declared to be a trespassing, we have to pay the court fee accordingly. If suppose I am asking for a declaration of the document to the null and void, so I have to pay to the court fee accordingly the valuation of the document. If suppose I am asking for the declaration of my property, declaration of my right in the property, or in partition suit, I am asking for my share in particular property. So I have to pay the court fees according to my share. Okay. So court fee in the declaration is vary on the basis of the valuation of property, valuation of rights, and the nature of the suit. But you have to file the court fee, paid the court fee only for declaration whenever you are filed the suit only for declaration. But whenever there is some ancillary relief or the consequential relief, then you also need to pay a court fee for such an ancillary relief, if any. If suppose I am filing a suit to declare some person as a trespasser and along with ancillary relief of the possession, so I need to pay the court fee for the possession and for the declaration as a trespasser. Criminal suits are governed by the Limitation Act 1963. Generally, the declaration suit need to file within the 3 years from the date of knowledge. There are different provisions in the limitation suit for declaration of the ownership, for title of the document, and wherever there is a no certain period, some other provisions are there. It is generally governed by the Limitation Acts, Article 56 to declare the forgery of an instrument issued or the registered. Article 57, alleged adoption is invalid. Article 58, any other declaration. Article 130, any suit for which no period of limitation is provided. Come to the second part of declaratory decree, that is section 35. Okay, we'll see section 35 of the Specific Relief Act. And this is very small portion of a declaratory decree. Section 35 talks about the effects of declaration. Section 35 talks about the effects of declaration. What effects of the declaration it is talking about, we will see accordingly. A declaration made under Section 34 is binding only on the parties to the suit, person claiming through them respectively. So whatever declaration I am asking for and whatever degree of the declaration in passing the suit of declaration in declaration suit is only binding on the parties to the suit and not other people. Those who are not parties of such a suit, that decree is not binding on them. Okay, it is binding only on the parties of the suit and person claiming through them, means a legal here, person claiming through the parties of the suit. Okay, and where any of the parties are trustees, and and where any of the parties are trustee on the person for whom, on the person for whom, if in existence at the date of the declaration, such parties will be trustees. Declaration decree binding on the parties to the suit and the person claiming through them. Okay, and whenever the trustees are in the picture, it is binding on the trustees because they are also considered to be a parties of the suit. Hmm? The next point of it, the declaration is binding on the parties to the suit and not the third person. The declaration is binding on the parties of the suit and not a third person. Okay, listen. There is a suit between, there is a suit between A and B. There is a suit between A and B. Hmm? The father of A, father of A sold certain property to B. Father of A sold certain property to B. Hmm? And A is a legal heir of his father. A is legal heir of his father. After demise of the A's father, after demise of the A's father, if any litigation arises between A and B, A and B means a legal heir of the deceased and the B is the person who is claiming through the deceased has sold him certain property. If any declaration suit arises between the A and B and any decree is passed in such a suit is not binding on the C. The C is a person who may possess the registered will of the deceased person. C is a person who is possessed the registered deed and who is having a better title, and in such a case that declaratory decree is not binding on a C, is not binding on a third person. Okay, so declaratory decrees is only binding on a parties to suit. The suit of declaration is continued with the legal heirs of the deceased. The suit of declaration is continued with the legal heir of the deceased if cause of action survives on them and declaratory decree can be made accordingly. And declaratory decree can be made accordingly. My mother has been initiated some suit in respect of the property. My mother has been initiated suit in respect of some property. uh, to declaration of certain person to be a trespasser. And my mother is owning that property. Being a owner, she has initiated that suit. Okay, being owner, she has been initiated such suit. But in, while this suit was pending, she has expired. She has expired. But that cause of action, if survives with my mother's legal heir, means me, so I can ask to the court to make me the party of the suit as a plaintiff, and I can ask for the declaration of trespassing of the defendant. Okay, declare him to be a trespasser. So Sometimes the legal heir can be a continue with the declaration suit whenever the the plaintiff or defendant demise, but at that time the cause of action need to be survives in the legal heirs of the plaintiff or the defendant. So these things we have been discussed in the under the declaratory directory under section 34 and section 35 of the specifically. I hope it might be useful for you to refresh your memories in respect of the declaration suit and declaration prayers. Thank you.